So I'm redoing this video. You may wonder why. Well, one is that there was a whole bunch of people that were really upset that I did a video that was more about my personal feelings and why I couldn't empathize with this scene because I was so worried about what the actors were doing. And I think a lot of people were really hoping for us to be able to take the journey of what the characters in the show were doing and the psychology behind it. So a lot of people were kind of sad, upset, grumpy, or disappointed, and I really don't want these videos to be that. So I feel bad for everyone that feels disgruntled or disappointed that they didn't get what they hoped for. So I'm doing a little bit of a redo. Plus, I think for some people, they saw the title of I Can't Empathize and thought that meant that I can't empathize with Ellie's journey and self-discovery and her sexuality, which is not at all what I was talking about in the video. It was really about a certain scene that kind of pulled me out of the show, but a lot of people kind of look at the thumbnail and don't watch the video, which I should have known. I was sick. I did it really quickly. I'm sorry. So here we go. Just like in the video game, I'm just going back to my last save point and I'm doing a redo. So hopefully you like this. And for those of you that were defending me in the comments, thank you so much. But I really want this to be kind of a happy, positive place. And so I'm sorry that I kind of by mistake created this kind of chaos. I'll stick to my lane. Hopefully you'll like this video better. So sorry, and this is why I'm doing a redo.
How's it going? Okay, it's bad.
I thought you were dead. You've been gone for 3 weeks.
No, I appreciate your mercy.
When we're growing up, our bonds, our peer group is really important, and it moves from it being our parental roles and the people that look after us to our peers. It's evolutionarily a huge benefit to have a safe tribe. Not all species are tribe seeking or work in groups. For humans, it's possible for us to be very successful as an individual. Through our evolution, our chances of survival if we worked in really strong knit groups increased. And it was during our teen years where we formed our own little tribes and we would go off and leave the main tribe. And so a lot of times it's during our teenage years that it's our peers that matter most to us. And we start to develop our self-esteem through their eyes. We start to notice what is our rank among others. And it's how our feelings of self-esteem and self-identity in our teen years is formed.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I just ran away for a bit, that's all.
If you're going through some you're supposed to, I don't know, talk to your best friend about it.
And the coolest thing when you have a really close friend, that person that has your back no matter what, like Ellie's really upset at Riley for suddenly disappearing and abandoning her, and she thinks that she could have been dead and didn't even know what happened. Even after all of that anger, she still asks her what's wrong. She cares more about her well-being and she wants to make sure that she's all right. So then she can just be angry at her for leaving. Are you safe? Are you okay? And then we can deal with everything else, like, why in the world did you do this to me?
I came back.
And isn't that cute? Like, it's so cute. The way that Riley handles the situation, she does that kind of small little tiny move, and she does this cute, sweet voice. She understands, like, the way to get beyond Ellie's defenses. And Ellie's really good at this tough exterior defense mechanism, but you can tell that Riley knows exactly the way to navigate and to get to that soft spot in Ellie, that part that she's hidden away from everyone else, but Riley masterfully can kind of maneuver around those barriers.
Who gave you the black eye?
Tell me where you were.
Give me a name and I'll them up.
It was Bethany, and I already her up. Where were you?
And the same thing for Riley. Right away when she notices that someone's hurt Ellie, she goes into protection mode. That whoever hurt her, she's gonna make sure that she takes care of them. It's a wonderful thing if you have the luxury of ever having a friend that will have your back no matter what. You notice that Riley doesn't ask what happened to make sure that Ellie's in the right. She doesn't care if Ellie's in the right or wrong. She has this unconditional love and protection for Ellie no matter what. And those are those friends that make you feel really safe and secure. And that's probably why Ellie has let down her defenses with her, because she knows that she'll always have her back.
We're not going to the park.
So where are we going?
Secret. You trust me, right?
I don't know. Should I trust you?
Of course you should, with your life.
And I love that Riley said with your life with a certainty, not a maybe. She has this knowing, unwavering feeling that no matter what, she's going to do her best to keep Ellie safe, even though they're doing something that's really, really risky. And it's funny because when you think about the people that you care about in your life, it isn't what they say or what even they do. It really is how they make you feel. And we often form really strong bonds with people that make us feel safe, secure, and that they care about us. So whenever you worry about being judged by people, remember that. If you give care and love to someone else, they're gonna feel that. And it doesn't matter what you look like, what job you have, how much money you make. Those are all ephemeral. They don't really matter. What matters is what you make the people around you feel like. And there's just some people that make you feel more powerful, more strong, loved, cared about. That feeling is so wonderful, and those are usually our favorite people in our lives.
What?
Nothing, I was just trying to imagine you wearing that.
Shut up.
I love the way that they tease each other. I think that that is a huge sign of closeness, and in that bond between people is that the people that you know have this unconditional love for you, they can tease you and do things that no one else might be allowed to. The other person will see as love instead of trying to hurt.
Ellie.
I'm on my way.
But you can see that that comment about I can't see you with this kind of pulled Ellie out. When you're very close with someone, you don't really see their physical appearance. You kind of see the other person for the things that are on the inside, not their status or their hair or if they're looking great or horrible, but their character traits, how they make you feel. You might want to give a break to your special loved one that didn't notice that you changed your nail color or cut your hair or wearing a different shirt, because it might just be that the things that they're seeing are those important parts of who you are as a person, and they don't actually care about the shell that you're in. And sometimes they're just not detail oriented. Because she actually likes Riley, she's romantically interested in her, that really then matters. Oh my goodness. How do I look? How does she see me? And so because of that, she goes through these grooming behaviors. And grooming behaviors are one of the first things that you can see from someone else that might mean that they like you or that they actually care about what you think about them. We're trying to make sure that the other person sees us in the best possible light.
Close your eyes.
What for?
Do you trust me?
With my life, apparently.
Oh, well then give me your hand. Come on.
Those first touches, especially when we like someone, causes such a rush of dopamine and serotonin. It's the best feeling in the world, especially with it being young love. When you're teenagers and you have this rush of new hormones, these feelings that you don't even understand yet.
What should we do?
Back to back?
Yeah. Just scary. Okay.
When you have that close emotional bond with someone, that secure relationship, that's when you can let down all of those usual social constraints and guards of those masks that we wear because we're worried that if we act really ridiculous, if we truly showed someone who we were, that fear that we would be rejected. But when you're in that secure relationship, you no longer have to worry about that because you know no matter what, even you at your most ridiculous, that you'll still be accepted.
Ellie, put it down.
You didn't find this small, did you? You recruit guarding their stash?
We would never use them on you or anywhere ever near you.
You would never let them?
But it isn't how we deal with things when everything's going well that truly shows the strength of a relationship. It's how do we deal with conflict? It isn't the absence of conflict. It's how do we handle it when these things happen. For Ellie, her reason that she's upset is one that she didn't already know about this. This is something that Riley was keeping to herself. So she ended up feeling like an outsider instead of it being us, that feeling of it's us against the world, which is really bonding to people. Also that she's joining the them. the other people, which kind of pits Ellie versus Riley. She's joining the other team. We form these us and them tribes very effortlessly. It was very beneficial to keep our tribes alive. And so it's kind of that primitive part of our brain that forms these different tiny groups. And the us group, the group that you consider yourself in, is always good and better and strong. And anything outside of that is the group that we should not like. And so Riley joining it without even telling Ellie feels like a betrayal.
Right, and you think they're gonna listen to you? I mean, I guess we'll find out.
Ellie.
It's okay, I'm going.
And then Ellie draws a line in the sand. For Ellie, she's testing the strength of their relationship. Who do you choose? Do you choose me or do you choose them? Because she's more avoidant in her attachment style, that when she feels stressed or upset, she wants to leave, and in her mind, she'll abandon someone else before they abandon her. That's less painful. And that's why she walks away. And that closing of the door kind of wakes up Ellie. Often when we're really upset and hurt, we're kind of in that limbic primal mindset. We're not really processing it. If this is going to be the last time that I see Riley, is this actually how I want to end things? When we're feeling all of our ego is kind of all riled up, we often want to hold our position, even if we've changed our minds or we feel that our position is wrong or we might have made a mistake. And it actually takes a ton of ego strength to be able to go towards the person that hurt us. Often, especially if our egos are kind of weak or we're not feeling that secure in ourselves, it can be very difficult to be able to go back to the other person, especially because we might be worried that the other person will be like, oh, you came back to me, huh? Oh, changed your mind. That they might rub our noses in it, which would be the absolute wrong thing to do because it would decrease the chances that someone would make that choice the next time. So when someone does something that you appreciate or you want them to do more of, make sure that you are kind about that and not holding that they changed their mind and rubbing their face in it. But you can see her look of like, ugh, this is gonna feel bad having to go back. It's against her nature. And that's a sign of huge emotional growth. We often want to think that doing the right thing will feel right. But no, what feels right is just doing what we always used to do. Growth and change is about doing things that might actually feel wrong, creating a new pathway, learning especially something new or that's the antithesis to your old behavior patterns, actually feels a little bit uncomfortable and awkward. And that's why we often stay in the same ruts and continue to do this, make the same mistakes that we used to make, because we're not making those uncomfortable choices and being able to put our ego aside for the thing that matters most, which for Ellie is her relationship with Riley.
I thought you'd like this one the best, so I saved it for last.
I guess I was stupid.
Give me the book.
Their relationship matters more than all of that stupidity of what they were fighting about. Because often what we're fighting about is not the toothpaste or not putting the garbage out or what happened to the laundry. Almost always when we fight, it's because we're hurt or we felt uncared about or not loved or not understood or not seen. If you can remember that, then handling disagreements and when you have fights is so much easier and smoother. And when the other person makes a mistake, to be more kind and accepting about it, because we all do that.
I got you, baby.
Replaying this scene, because a whole bunch of people had such a negative reaction to my thoughts of it, this was the scene that kind of pulled me out for those that didn't get to watch it, because I was just thinking about all kinds of logistical things that the actors had to go through that I wasn't thinking about the characters and their emotional journey. I'll skip ahead. If you saw that video, you know how I felt about it.
Don't go.
And I love the way that Ellie says, don't go. It's so heartfelt. And then that rush of emotion where you feel like you've lost someone and that they've decided to stay with you, that she put her line in the sand and that she chose her. She's choosing to stay with Ellie just for Ellie, even though it might not even be the best decision for her.
I'm sorry.
For what?
And then that kiss, the first kiss that you have with someone that you really have wanted and probably thought about kissing, and care about so much. It's such a rush of oxytocin and serotonin and dopamine, kind of just takes over. It's such a wonderful feeling. And Ellie and Riley, they're also at that age of being a teenager and dealing with hormones and identity and who you are. And so that feeling is amplified even more. And so you can tell that Ellie was kind of just in the moment, and then she realized, oh my goodness, what just happened? And I don't know how Riley even feels about this. Riley's answer was perfect. The for what? She has such a great way of saying things, packaging them so that Ellie can really hear them and feel immediately at ease.
What do we do now?
We're gonna figure it out.
And that they're gonna just figure it out together. But I love the way that they speak about each other. It's always a we. They're this one unit, and it's them against the world.
No!
It's really easy when things are good to have a really healthy, strong relationship, but it doesn't really test how strong a relationship it is. Because when everything's going right, life is so easy. When the person that you care about is doing everything that makes you feel loved and cared for. It's what happens when they make a mistake or screwed up. Then when you feel anxiety or angst or anger, what are the things that you do, and are you tearing the fabric of the relationship apart? If you have the right tools and techniques through adversity, you can actually create a stronger relationship because you learn to depend on the other and you let the other person feel safe even if they mess up, that you'll both be able to handle it together, not apart. This type of an experience could definitely pull two people apart.
We just keep going.
What are you talking about, Riley? It's over.
It will be, but not yet. It ends this way for everyone sooner or later, right?
And I think it's really important, that thought of living in the moment, that no matter how long you have, as long as you are staying in the moment and making the most of it, that's the best that you can do. I think that Riley has wonderful leadership qualities. The federal agent definitely was not able to see the wonderful skills that she brings. She's not only stoic, but she's able to make people feel calm, because when she makes a decision, it's pointed and thought out. And she does a great job at being able to handle really difficult decisions in a way that's not just strategic, but also makes the people that she's making these decisions with feel safe and secure, especially for Ellie, who's more of a defensive, avoidant type. They don't trust easily, and when they do trust and something bad happens, they can often feel very devastated with it. The federal agent that said that she was going to end up doing like sewage duty. No, she would have been an amazing leader. The stuff that she says is just wise and poignant and comforting. Like comforting to me, and I'm just watching the scene.
Some of us just get there faster than others, but we don't quit.
And that is a statement. It's not a question. When she states we don't quit, it's one, it's us, but it's who we are. She's saying this is our identity. We're not just gonna quit things because things are tough. For however long it might be, we're gonna live each moment and do it together. These are such powerful statements. These are the statements that people give before people end up going into battle. So she would be a great military leader.
Whether it's 2 minutes or 2 days, we don't give that up. I don't want to give that up.
That clasping of the hands that they do together, it really is that symbol of that bond, that we're in this together. It's you and me, whether no matter how long it is, we're sticking together. And the one time that Riley says something that's just about her is to say how precious these moments with Ellie really are. She doesn't want to be able to emotionally waste this time that they could have, even if it's just 1 more minute together. It's worth it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And she apologizes for this happening and for how this has ended up, but they don't blame each other through it. It's really beautiful because you could see how this would be one blaming the other and them having a fight and being defensive. We often, when something bad happens, it's so heavy on us as our character to be able to take responsibility for that. We often don't want to be looked at as this monster or bad guy or person that made a mistake. And so because of that, we will project that out and blame someone else or something else that happens. It takes a lot of emotional maturity to be able to carry on your part of a mistake. And that often is very soothing to someone else when you don't blame them, especially when it's a part of it that actually could be blamed on someone else. For Riley, because she decided to bring Ellie here in this dangerous situation, you can see how Ellie might have said, Riley, how could you do this? If you hadn't have done this, you had just listened to me. If you hadn't have joined the Fireflies, none of this would have happened. And then Riley would have probably blamed Ellie, and they would have spent their last moments with them fighting and both feeling bad and guilt in a really short amount of time. Instead, she just apologizes. She takes personal responsibility, and Ellie doesn't even have to say it's okay. They just hold each other because it's understood. I think that in a world where death is all around you, I think that we also look at it differently. It's something that we've already thought about, and we can't control how we die and what happens, and we often spend so much time on it, but we can control the way that we handle it. And I think that Riley handles it with such stoicism that I doubt that many of us could really do. It's this scene that you can tell for Ellie that moment is playing through in her head of this covenant that she made with Riley, of this bond of how we're in it together, and where she makes that decision that we're going to do this together and I'm not going to abandon you, which is really sweet because for Ellie that's her fear, and so she's not going to do that to Joel. I think that that clasping of her hands with Joel is this beautiful testament to Riley of how she learnt from her that it doesn't really matter how long we have, but what we do with it. And just like Riley decided that they were going to stick this out together. And I think that that clasping of the hand is kind of that solidification of that bond that she made with Riley that she's now also making with Joel. That lesson that she learnt from her, that no matter what, we don't give up. So hopefully for those of you that were dissatisfied with the last video on episode 7, you feel a little bit happier with this video. You can let me know in the comments below, and thank you for everyone for your support. And I'll be coming out with the next episode really soon.